Hello everyone, happy holidays, because by the time this video is out, it's most probably already Christmas, or at the very least, most of you guys are already traveling lah. Even I myself also traveling in the next 2 weeks already. Okay, and because this is festive period, so I kind of like try to make do without the usual setup to give you a unscripted review. Right, because 2 months ago when I did the Zion video, I mentioned that most probably is going to be our last new launch review of the year. I meant it because I took a break after that. And subsequently, I didn't do the Sen review for obvious reasons. Now, Sen unfortunately didn't sell too well on launch day itself. Why did that happen? If you're interested to find out more, you can always PM me. I'm not going to talk about it here. And before I go traveling, I felt compelled to do this review because this location or development is something that most of you guys might be interested in. And coincidentally, it's going to be our channel's very first EC launch review. And I will bring you to Pasir Ris. Disclaimer, whatever I share does not constitute financial advice. It is solely based on my opinion on what is right or wrong. So please do your own due diligence. If you're liking the content so far, please hit the like and subscribe button, as your simple gesture will help a lot with the YouTube algorithm. If you're interested to find out more about property-related matters, please find all the social media handles I am on, or you can just directly reach out to me on WhatsApp. Separately, I have also set up a Telegram group at the start of the year so that we can have a discussion that we as agents are not allowed to do so online, which is to talk shit. So if you are interested to get into a community that talks about everything under the sun about property, please scan the QR code, or for the boomers out there, I have pasted the link in my description. We're going to close the group invitation in probably a month or 2 times. So head over and I will see you there. Now back to the video. Now, why do I ever not do EC launch reviews? Because to me, EC is like a BTO, subsidized housing, CPF grant. It's a no-brainer. So if something is that certain, then what's the point of doing a video or analysis, right? But this location brings back a lot of memories as far as I'm concerned. I think those in the age range of 30 to 50 years old can resonate with that, right? Because why? Of course, Pasir Ris Coastal Cabana is beside downtown East. Now, I always think of it like Inception. It's like memories within memories. For every Singaporean son, you will dread the bus ride from Pasir Ris MRT all the way to Pulau Tekong. Along the way, I also always reminisce about the time, 5-6 years ago, I'm always here at downtown East, either Aloha Chalet or the Wawa Wet, having so much fun. So that was really fun memories for myself. I'm sure, like I mentioned, most of you guys also can agree with me on that. Now, the newer generation obviously don't really know much about chalets, right? This is really the pre-smartphone era where we got nothing better to do but to just go out there and have fun. Okay, before I talk about Coastal Cabana, I also want to talk a little bit about EC in general. Just in case most of you guys are brand new EC buyers, you need to understand that last time, it used to be like probably 9 to 10 years before you can exit your EC. Nowadays, it's somewhere around 7 to 8 years. Why? Because there's a ruling whereby once a developer buys an EC plot of land, they have a 15-month wait-out period before they can launch a project. So what it means is when they launch, by then the development will has already reached foundation or framework already. So that construction phase shortens quite some bit, which means that of course your horizon to exit your EC is somewhere 7 to 8 years long. So as I mentioned, something that no-brainer previously, I usually don't want to review, but this one I feel I must, because there's so much to talk about Coastal Cabana. Now, a bit of background information about Coastal Cabana. Developers got it close to 1.5 years ago, 15 months at about 700 odd per square foot plot, which I'll share that in a bit. And today, I will do a simple QPE framework analysis to help you understand why Coastal Cabana is going to be a sellout. But it won't be a very draggy version. Basically, quality, I think I'll cover more a bit of quality. Exit strategy, what's there to talk about? It's an EC, so exit is clear. I will also talk about the price also at the end of the video, and in conclusion, I also will share who does this appeal to and a bit more information about launch details here and there. But yeah, Coastal Cabana is directly opposite Downtown East. Coastal Cabana has everything because you have lifestyle, you have amenities, yeah, with the exception of MRT, what you need in life, you have it there, lor. Now, with the exception of the MRT being like 13-15 minutes walk away, I know some agents will say that it is walking distance. Of course, everything is walking distance, but to me, 13-15 minutes walking distance is not walking distance to MRT. In today's market, Singaporeans are pampered. Anything under 7 minutes, then it's walking distance. Anything above 7, it's not walking distance. So to me, Coastal Cabana is not walking distance, but it's walking distance to everything else. Amenities, lifestyle, which is obviously Pasir Ris Beach, it's very close. It's like maybe a 3-4 minutes walk only. So like I said, it's that livability part where we cannot discount. Of course, next year we also have the competition in what we call, I think, Revel or something like that. And that's where the Tampines Safra is. That one we'll leave it for another day. But that one is closer to MRT. But somehow right there, I just feel that I want to do a video on this plot of land because it has more livability factor. So I will touch on that with the QPE framework. And I want you guys to see why I'm excited about this EC launch. I won't be talking too much about exit because, as I mentioned, when something is that certain, confirmation make money more or less, then what's there to talk about for exit? Okay, so I'll talk about the usual quality, we'll dive straight into the land size, facilities, facade, the layouts, and eventually the pricing, probable pricing also. Okay, before we start, some context about the plot of land itself is close to about 300,000 square feet. The land was purchased about 15 months back by Qingjian. They paid somewhere about 720 odd per square foot per plot ratio. It's about the same price as what similarly bidded for Orel at Tampines. Now, eventually Orel sold out between 1,650 per square foot to about 1,900 per square foot. So I don't think it's too far of a stretch to think that it will be in the same price range except Orel is beside the MRT, or rather upcoming MRT, and Coastal Cabana, it's a short walk away. So QPE framework, physical, point number 1, land size, facilities and facade. Let's take a look at it. Okay, so land size is about close to 300,000 square feet as mentioned, 748 units. Total 16 blocks, you never hear wrongly. Most of the units are north-south facing. The north facing is obviously the premium ones overlooking the sea. Naturally, all the 4 or 5 bedrooms are all mainly there. How high a floor to clear the blocks in front to have an unblocked sea view? I would think 6-7 stories and above. Now, the southern side is facing towards the HDB, eastern side is facing towards Sea Horizon, and western side is towards the Downtown East. Now, when I first visited the show flat, I kind of feel that it looks like Tampines Treasure a little bit more, probably a more glassy version of Tampines Treasure. I like the entrance. The entrance area is quite grand, and there's also a very nice function room there with a high ceiling. Now, at that very premium block, there's also a roof terrace, the only roof terrace in the entire development. I'm not sure why they do it. Probably is for people who don't have a sea facing to enjoy a sea view. But yeah, sea facing is not like East Coast. This one, the sea here, it's just facing the Pasir Ris Beach, right? So yeah, all in all, the good thing and bad thing about EC developments is quite predictable because it's meant for 100% ownership. So developers usually build whatever you need in a condo itself. But all in all, I think the land size, facilities and facade here is quite good. If I compare against neighboring projects like Sea Horizon, Watercolors, River Bay, I think this will stand out. And obviously, this is also the one closest to all amenities, which I will cover that in a short while. So first point of land size, facilities and facade, nothing to really complain about. Pretty neat per se. Safe. Okay, safe. Now point number 2, layouts, and this is where I'll spend more time talking about this because this to me is the selling point of Coastal Cabana, and it has very similar attributes to Orel at Tampines. Everything is very efficient. When I look at the layout, my thought process is, how did the developers squeeze so much things into such a small space, right? I share with you why. So the smallest is 872 square feet, 3-bedroom deluxe. Now 872 usually is a 2-bedroom size or 2+ study. In this case, 3-bedroom is already very tight, but this one is a 3-bedroom with a home shelter, which is like a 3 premium. Okay, you come inside, everything is very highly efficient, queen, king. Every part of the house that requires or best to have a window has a window. And I mentioned home shelter also. I think the living room width is 2.8, naturally so I mean 872 square feet. How big a space you want, right? So very clean layout. 872, they say starting price for this is 1.4 XM, which is very attractive.
Now, to give you a bit of context, the sea horizon, the Ripple Bay, the watercolors, all their 3-bedroom range between 1.3 all the way to 1.78. So if you use developers 1.4xm, right, although the per square foot, which is very important thing that I'm going to cover, is although the per square foot seems high, basically because this is harmonized, so per square foot is no longer the key indicator as to whether it's expensive or not. It's the entry level, because at 1.4xm is equivalent to you buying Sea Horizon, which is close to 10 years old, at the same price tag. Just that Sea Horizon, you get more space lah. But is it really more space, or there's more wasted space? To me, this is not debatable at all. Over here at Costa Cabana, everything is all very efficient. Okay, so the second one, 872 square feet, 3-bedroom, also same thing. I think this is another version of the smaller 3-bedrooms. Now the larger 3-bedroom premium 915 and the 3+ study also 915. What's the difference? The smaller 3-bedroom premium, the study is almost non-existent. It's like you give study, must not give study. What's the point of putting a study there, right? But same thing, you have home shelter, you have whatever you need, queen, king, blah, blah, blah. 2.8 meter width, very comfortable space, nothing to really fault, right? It's the 3+ study that is the very interesting one, because I also really didn't bother to analyze where exactly the space is given. Because the second 3+ study is so much bigger. It's like the show flat layout, where you can knock out one of the walls that separates the study and the corridor area to create like a walk-in wardrobe. And the 3+ study, I feel, is going to be the sellout one, because this is whatever you need in the 3-bedroom, you have it here. And it's only 915 square feet. So this is what I'm trying to say. How do you squeeze so much in only a 915 square feet? Only the developers can answer that. So like I said, I've been thinking about that. Why the OCR launches for the private new launch cannot do such a layout? Why is it only EC that can do this? I don't know, can anyone tell me why? It's like EC layouts are super efficient, right? But of course, this kind of layout, you bring it to, let's say, a CCR area or RCR, then maybe it doesn't fare too well because it's a bit too small. But I feel that moving forward, the OCR launchers should use this as a benchmark. Okay, I digress a bit. Okay, next one is 4-bedroom classic D1990 square feet. Same thing exactly like the 3-bedroom, except the 4th bedroom looks like just now the study alcove is like the 4th bedroom super small. You can't even put in a queen size bed. So to me, this is a bit a semi like a 3+ study also. But of course, you still can sell as a 4-bedroom in the future. Kitchen is also a little bit bigger. But same thing, whatever spot that you need a window, you have it. Now next up is the 1012 square feet 4-bedroom deluxe. This is the proper 4-bedroom. So this one is queen, and king. Living room is all about the same. Home shelter. Now I have one complaint, is the design of the fridge in Costa Cabana is a bit out of place. I feel it's like it's not seamless. It's like something jugging out. I'm not too sure how we're going to solve this problem, but the only downside, or rather the only negative of the layout now. But the 4-bedroom deluxe, it's very neat. It's like, how can you squeeze 4-bedroom into 1012 square feet? Like the one at River Green, although it's 980 square feet, but I just feel things are a little bit more compact. There's a lot of things that feels compromised. But at this 1012, everything feels good enough. How do they do it? I also don't know. But anyway, congrats to the developer or architect for doing this. They have done a good job. Okay. The next one is the 1055 square feet, which is the D3 layout. Same thing, queen, king. The only difference between this and the 1012 square feet, I believe, is that this unit has a dry kitchen. Otherwise, everything is more or less the same. Very neat also. Okay, so the next one is the slightly more lavish 4+ study of the 1163 square feet and the 1216 square feet. Same thing is like the 1055 square feet, except you get an additional study in the spot that's closer to the master. And because this layout is such that the study is beside the master and the wall can be knocked, I can imagine it's either going to be a much larger master, or it's like a master with a walk-in wardrobe. Also, same thing, all queen, king, all can fit in, all queen size bed. And of course, same thing, dry kitchen. The 1216 square feet, which is the D4B. Guys, I'm doing this video without really analyzing the floor plan. I'm looking at it as it is, so that you can understand like the excitement or the kind of negativity I have over a certain layouts. You have it live. And I think the difference between the 1216 and 1163 is, seems like you got a balcony in the master. Yeah, that's about it. Is it worth it or not? You decide. So the next one is the 1206 square feet 4-bedroom plus flexi. In my honest opinion, this looks like the best 4-bedrooms you can find. Why? Because this is everyone's favorite landscape layout. So how did they achieve this landscape? This looks a little bit like how they did it for the Zion Grand 3+ study, whereby the study which is similar to the one at the 4+ study, the previous layout unit, which is D4B and D4. You bring the study forward towards the living room and that becomes the flexi lah, which in return gives you the slightly wider than usual living room space. Otherwise, everything in the 4 bedroom is there. Queen, king, with the exception of the landscape layout with a nice dry and wet kitchen. So I think of all the 4 bedroom, for someone who has deeper pockets, this probably would be the best unit for the 4 bedrooms lah, as far as layout is concerned. Which brings me to the last, final, largest 5 bedroom premium, E1 and E2. I think first glance, they look exactly the same, except maybe the largest E2 balcony, it stretches all the way from the living room all the way to the bedroom number 4. Other than that, everything looks similar to me. So let's look at the 5 bedroom layouts. Nothing much to fault lah, except the bedroom 5 obviously is a bit smaller, 8 square meter, same size room as the Penrith. Or this living room space do look a little bit smaller as compared to the 4 bedroom flexi, but still wide enough. As I mentioned, layouts are all very clean. I visited the show flat. The one part of the house that all of us got a little bit confused is the kitchen area, because you notice the fridge is like out of nowhere, sticking out of nowhere. There's like really no other place to put the fridge other than that area there, which feels a bit like tight lah. Oh? So maybe unless you're someone who wants to shift the fridge to the dry kitchen area to kill off the cabinet space, I think this fridge is probably the only part that you will have question marks about lah. Okay, so yeah, all in all, this is basically all the layout lah. I've covered all the layouts. As I mentioned, I really have to give it to developers for coming out, or rather their architects for coming out with such efficient layout. And that's something I hope the private property segment can come up with for the OCL segment. RCL, CCL, as I mentioned, I don't think is that receptive towards such a setup, but the OCL, definitely all developers should do up such, or rather should come out with such layouts. Okay, so for the second point of layouts for Costa Cabana, I think, like I said, just like Orel, is extremely efficient. Now with the higher per square foot, that's why the entry level is at an affordable range, because the layout is very, very efficient. So point number 3 is location, MRT and amenities. Now, of course, with the exception of the walking distance towards MRT, some people say it's like, what, very short walk. To me, it's not that walkable. It's like 13 to 15 minutes. Now, as I mentioned in many of my videos, in today's market, most Singaporeans feels that anything below, or rather above 7 minutes, it's not walking distance. So this is, to me, not walking distance. But beyond the MRT, really what you need in life, you have it here. Opposite, just across the street, you have all the amenities in downtown East, E-Hub, right? And then across the street, on towards the northern side, you have Pasir Ris Beach. That's where the lifestyle is. At the HDB side or the southern side, you get all the amenities that you're going to get in the HDB cluster. So all in all, as I said, summary is, with the exception of the MRT, everything else that you need in a nice and quiet neighborhood, you have it here at Costa Cabana. So location, MRT, amenities, for me, it's pretty much a given. Point number 4, views. Of course, the premium facing is facing towards the sea facing. If you're worried about which level, I think 6-7 stories and above, you get a nice sea facing. Now, what about those blocks at the back? I think it's a combination of pool facing, or on a higher floor, at the corner units, probably, let's say, on the units facing towards downtown East, you will have a pretty nice sea view also at the angle on your left-hand side. So yeah, it's either you go all the way to the premium facing or the sea facing, which likely I believe will be trading between 1,800 to 1,900 per square foot, or you just double down, go for a simple pool facing, and just go for it because of the location. So first circle of quality, I think this more than checks out. Efficient layout, nice facilities, easy. What's there to really complain? Everything else about the location, as I mentioned, if I am an Eastie, I don't stay in the East, I would definitely buy this. Of course, some people will say the upcoming one at Tampines is, I think, Reveal or whatever it is. Location is a bit different. It's closer to MRT, closer to mixed development. But for me, it's, I don't grow up in the East, but even someone who doesn't grow up in the East have so much, I feel, feelings for the Pasir Ris area, especially this part of Pasir Ris, which is Costa Cabana. I think the quality is just, for me, it's the clearest reason why people, or rather this will 100% be a sell. So as I mentioned, first circle of quality, more than checks out for me. So for exit strategy, as I mentioned, I don't want to talk too much about exit strategy because for EC, to me, is EC exit strategy is like a no-brainer. Who's the target audience? Obviously, you have first-timers, you also have downgraders, second-timers, whatever it is. So EC usually always there's certain level of demand, especially like an area in Costa Cabana. I can tell you the demand will be off the roof. Transformation in the Pasir Ris area, what's there to talk about? Pasir Ris is really quite a mature estate. Now, there's also people talking about the Pasir Ris area potentially having more housing, which in return will boost prices. I realize there's a plot of land that's just across the Pasir Ris 8. So that one also likely is going to be a mixed development. Will that push prices up? Eventually, I believe the land will be made available for tender in the next 1 to 2 years. When that comes up, what price is it going to be? Is it going to be a catalyst for the prices in and around the Pasir Ris area? I think easily that is going to be launching if they do sell. Even in today's market, it's like 2,500 to 2,600 per square foot. So for exit strategy, nothing to talk about it. Very clear cut. This will be a sellout. So which brings me to the final circle, which is pricing. Because as much as the quality is amazing, exit strategy is there, pricing, the golden question of between 1,650 to 1,900 per square foot, is it too expensive? Well, if you just look at per square foot, yes, it is expensive. But you realize that when you look at the bigger picture, which is the entry level, it is about the same price as surrounding neighborhood properties, which is like Sea Horizon, Watercolors, Siesta, Ripple Bay, so on and so forth. Now, all this development, their 3 bedrooms range between 1.3 to 1.75. Now, if I use developer's guide price of, let's say, 1.4xm for the smallest 3 bedroom, then it is in the same price range as the surrounding neighborhood properties, right? So even if you get the larger 3 bedrooms at 1.6, 1.7, it's still within the range that is selling in the neighborhood itself. For the 4 bedrooms, same thing, they sell between 1.7 to $2.2 million for the resale properties there. At Costa Cabana, developers gave a starting price of 1.6x M. Of course, it's going to range between 1.6x all the way to maybe 2.2, 2.3 for the larger 4 bedroom or the largest 4 bedroom. But similarly, it is the same price tag. And for the 5 bedroom, which if I'm not wrong, only Sea Horizon has a 5 bedroom, it's about the same price from entry level point of view. So don't be too obsessed about the per square foot. Anyway, as I mentioned, exit strategy is going to be there. It's easy. So if, let's say, ultimately the choice boils down between a premium facing or a pool facing, price on the upper limit of 1,800, 1,900 per square foot will still likely be in the range or safe range of properties in the resale market itself around the Pasir Ris area. So for the pricing, as I mentioned, I'm not too worried about it. If you are going to pay 1,900 per square foot, very likely it's going to be the block C facing, which means that your stay just got to be a little bit longer. But because your facing is going to be that good, you exit next time also pretty much quite easy. Now, of course, if you look at the surrounding projects like Sea Horizon and the rest of all of them, you are the one closest to all the amenities. So yeah, pricing, I mean, it's easy lah. So what's there to complain about pricing? It's really like cheaper already. So in conclusion, if you guys are house hunting in the East, especially for the EC, this is the first EC launch in Pasir Ris for the past 12 years, with Sea Horizon being the last one. It's gonna be a sellout. It's gonna be a no-brainer. The layouts are very, very efficient. The land size, everything about it is just nice, except unfortunately it's not close to the MRT. But beyond that, you have everything at doorstep. You walk across is the Pasir Ris beach. You walk the other side of the zebra crossing is E-Hub. Then of course you want all your amenities, as I mentioned, you're just across the street on the southern side. You have everything there. Sometimes I know some people are obsessed with MRT, but beyond that is just livability lor. I know the upcoming EC launch to rival this is called Reveal. As I mentioned, it's called Reveal, whatever it is, at the Tampines Safra. Now I know some people who stay in Tampines don't like Pasir Ris. Some people stay in Pasir Ris don't like Tampines. I'm not going to debate about that. I personally like this Pasir Ris one more because, as I mentioned, it has plenty of memories as far as I'm concerned. I'm pretty sure it has for most of you guys out there who grows up in the East. So preview is going to happen between 6th to 21st December. Remember to go and check it out. If you're not around, at the very least, go and do your e-app. Then we are back. You can go and visit a show flat because of launch will be in January itself. Now, EC launch, unlike private launch, is a bit more complicated. There's more paperwork needed to be done. So get that sorted out with your agent before you be in the position to even think about purchasing Costa Cabana. Because Costa Cabana is going to be something, even though you got money, probably you also have to depend on the fate of balloting And yeah, EC launch, as I mentioned, if I'm Eastie, I would pick Costa Cabana anytime, right? So once again at Phuket View in our first EC launch review, and of course this is going to be the last new launch review of the year lah. So please enjoy yourself during the festive period, stay very safe, enjoy the holidays, Merry Christmas. I'm pretty sure this video is out very close to Christmas, and I think I will see you guys in 2026 lah. Maybe I have another video along the way again. Fingers crossed. I want to take a break, but maybe I might just do one in the place that I'm going to visit. This is just signing out lah. Happy holidays. See you guys. Bye.